easy to answer.
I was born in Windhoek, capital of Namibia.
I live in Amsterdam.
I was born in Warsaw, in Poland.
Moved to Zuid-Laren when I was 5.
It's in more places as well, and I'm from Belgium.
Geographically, I'm from a small suburb outside of Toronto.
My father being Polish, my mother was Russian.
My dad's family is all in Belgium and my mom's family is all in Namibia.
Both my parents are Palestinian.
I have 2 Dutch parents, but I was born and raised in Bruges.
Canada was just like the air around me.
I've also spent almost every year since my early childhood in Kazakhstan.
And then I moved to Amsterdam 9 years ago.
Before that, I already lived in New York for 7 years.
And when I get to Berlin, when I get to Greece, when I get to Belgium.
I've been going back to Namibia very regularly, as much as I can.
Moving to Germany, moving to Berlin, made me more Canadian unexpectedly.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am really happy you are here tonight, today, this afternoon. As you can see, it's been quite a journey. My name is Andrea. I have a question for you. Has anyone ever heard about the third culture yet? 1, 2, 3. That's a lot of people. Wonderful. A few years ago, I hadn't, and I read about the third culture for the very first time. It's a name for all the people that don't have a simple answer to the question, where are you from? And that sounded like me. When you can always relate to different countries and to different cultures, but you never fully belong to any of them. And I wanted to understand what that means, to not live your life in, but in between cultures. So I started this project. And I met these wonderful musicians. Here's Bodek Janke playing drums. And Shishani Franks. And John Farah. And we had a talk with Glenn. And Glenn Helberg, he is a transcultural psychiatrist. This means that he helps people to piece it all together. So we sat down in this very hall and we had a talk about what it means when you always relate but never belong.
I can feel at home very quickly, but it's when I'm honest with myself, it's superficial.
I am from here, you don't need to explain me the most basic things about your country. I know. Or, yeah, it's just never self-explanatory. Never.
How do I fit into it all? What's the proper way to look at myself? What am I really?
In this constant search of who am I, where do I belong, are you Namibian, are you Dutch, are you Belgian, are you black, are you white, are you this, are you that? It was always this thing that you're not.
Bijvoorbeeld deze week, ik heb het weer eens voor gehad, dat ik 's morgens mijn tanden poets en ik in de spiegel kijk en dat ik zo verrast ben van mijn eigen. Allee, verrast door een Aziat in de spiegel. Dat is zo. En ja, ik ben nu 47, je zou denken dat er toch al een beetje nog gewoon, maar toch blijft dat. Op bepaalde momenten is er iets dat niet klopt.
Almost people don't care about the virtue of who you are as a human being. They want to know about your background. And when I tell people what my background is, not necessarily everybody believes me. And I get into arguments with people when I tell them my family are actually from East Africa.
Mijn moeder heeft haar waarde in Afrika gehad, ze weet wie dat zij is. Maar dit is bij mij. Als Vlaanderen niet bij mij is, dan heb ik nergens een thuis.
I am very curious to see if any of this already sounds familiar to you. May I see some hands? Are there people? Ooh, already! And a lot of hands. I have a first question. Are there people here that lived outside of their home country for some time of their life? That's like almost everyone. Wow. Are there second generation migrants here? This means that your parents were migrants, that you did not grow up in the country of your parents. 1, 2, in the front. Who grew up in more than one language? Who was raised in more than one language? Almost the same. Also a lot of people. Where are the people that feel completely at home in more than one place in the world? It's so nice to see this, you know. And I have a very last question. Who is in love with somebody from a different culture? It's a good score. Lots of questions, lots to talk about, so let's start. And let's start at the beginning. How did we end up here, in this space, in between cultures, in between worlds, and in between different realities?
My dad had a friend who invited him to play in an orchestra in Germany. So he went by himself, brought back money, and payment was about more than 100 times more than back in Poland those times. The fourth or the fifth time, he got some papers. The only option to get out of the country to the West was if you had false papers, if you had, somebody could help you, would bribe somebody with money. My parents could go together and take me. It was officially for a vacation. Basically went through the GDR, from Poland to the East Germany first, and then from the East Germany to West Germany, and then we were in Bad Tölz in Bavaria. Then the decision was there to stay and basically leave everything behind that was there in Poland. I didn't have a solid home, a home that it was only temporary each time. And then we moved away again and moved somewhere else again. And then I was spending 2 or 3 months almost every summer with my family in Kazakhstan, with my Russian family. It was great always, but it was always painful to leave again. This is the story of my life, actually. It is, in German the word would be Fernweh. That means it's not homesickness, but it's the far away place, sickness, that I'm constantly missing some place or some people.
Well, my mother was very, very alone in Belgium. And so it was quite clear that me and my sister were quite important to her, and that she did not have many other people around her, which made me sad, of course. You want to see your parents happy. I had to make it possible for my mother to survive in Belgium. That would be my first association. Yeah.
And how did you do that?
I did not learn Flemish. Maybe somewhere I felt that if I would learn it, she would feel even more alone than she did already. And but it was a conscious decision not to learn it. I really remember this. From the moment of socializing, I was already picked on so much for the way I spoke. And I just couldn't see a point in why people would be so picky, so mean. I felt that if I were to start young, to try to speak Flemish, it would be completely fake. And then at some point it was too late.
So I just remember playing as usual, and my parents were generally working, so my auntie was taking care of us. She was like the nanny at home, so she would, get us up and bring us to school and fetch us and play with us and read bedtime stories. So I really grew up with my auntie. Her name is Frida. The first 5 years. And then one day, I just remember my mom called me to come, and then my auntie was crying and crying and crying, and then the next thing I remember is that we were on Schiphol, and I really missed home. I missed my family. I missed the sun. I missed the mountains. I missed the smell. I missed the sand. In Namibia, we always had aunties coming by and people coming and going and people staying over and friends. And when we moved to Zadar, it was quite isolated.
My parents made a very specific decision when they moved to Canada, to not teach their children Arabic, their mother tongue. And I understand 100% why they did it. It was my mother's decision. My mother wanted us to grow up free from the trauma and the emotional burden of the things that she wanted to escape. So she wanted to get away. Both my parents are Palestinian. And of course, they were very traumatized by everything. And they wanted to come to Canada to have a new beginning. And part of that was my mother specifically wanted to spare her children the emotional agony of that, of continuing that. And so I guess the hope was for us to be as Anglo-Saxon as possible.
friends in Germany considered me as a Ausländer, as someone who is Polish Russian. So I don't really belong to them. I'm always a little bit exotic. My friends in Poland, would consider me being German because I live in Germany now, and my Russian friends in Kazakhstan too, the same. So I was never really a solid part of a social group. And always...
They would always see you as the outsider.
Yes.
Kids look around at the other kids in their class and they see how they're socialized and what's normal for them. And then you start thinking, oh, I guess that should be the norm for me too. Why is it not? Why aren't things like that in my home? How come we don't speak that way or have the same way of socializing with other kids and things like that?
It was the first time that I saw my mother, who was generally a very confident person doing her thing, being at home and being insecure. All of a sudden I saw this person change, and I felt like, I need to translate what other people think, and I realized she wasn't comfortable and didn't feel confident outside, also because of the language barrier and all the ideas that people have about Africans, and especially if you just moved and you don't speak Dutch. So I could feel these things, but I didn't know what it was.
Just that you know that when you go outside, that you can blend in as long as you don't speak. And from the moment you speak, you know that people will talk behind your back because they don't think you understand the Flemish. They will or mimic you or give it back to you, or it's as though you may not share the reality that all the people around you are living in.
Needed to be special. I couldn't just be good or just average, just a good musician. It had to be something special in order to satisfy myself in the end.
And you never really root, or people never really see you as, who you are, but as the migrant with a funny accent, for example. Sometimes I just wish it was simple and I just feel like I'm from this place and that is my corner store and I want to live and die here and nothing more. Not travel the whole world in search of yourself, just be in one place and be happy. That's it.
But here we are. For us, it can never go back to simple. We didn't choose for this. It just happened, and it is what it is. Now, when you look at us, what do you see?
Sometimes, even in Belgium, they will not even call them immigrants. They will call them, in Dutch, they say vreemdelingen. Vreemdelingen, I don't know how to translate, but vreemd means weird.
And this perhaps sums up his whole perspective on this. He says, I'm German when I win, but I'm an immigrant when we lose.
Het gaat niet over haar als persoon, maar iemand met een dubbele nationaliteit, die ook Marokkaan is, hoort niet de voorzitter te worden van het Nederlands parlement.
Dat is altijd een discussie geweest. Die loyaliteit, van wanneer ben je loyaal en wanneer ben je niet loyaal. En soms was ik het helemaal zat. Dan dacht ik, ja, als maar, elke keer. Ben je nou Marokkaans? Ga je paspoort afstaan? Denk ik, waarom doen mensen dit?
Sorry, dat is te moeilijk, dat spreek ik niet uit. Beeld te zien dat jij in de klas zit als kind van 10 jaar en dat een leerkracht dat zegt. Je zet het niet waard om uitgesproken te worden, want ik kan uw naam zelfs niet uitspreken.
It just didn't make sense to me. Why people would, even small kids, because we go to school from the age of 2.5, 3 years on, so you're very young. Why I could not open my mouth and say one kind word to you without getting it back in my face in the most horrendous accent possible, because they're mimicking you. Just whatever you say, it comes back.
This filter of interpretation about this person they see, but they don't really see the person. But that you have a different culture, or you talk different, and all the ideas that come with that.
Everybody wants dignity. It's your sense of who you are. It's your sense of not even who you are now, but who you were, what you were, what you have a right to, what you have a right to even identify with.
But if you believe you're a citizen of the world, you're a citizen of nowhere. You don't understand what the very word citizenship means.
This is the politics of place. The politics of belonging.
Wie zijn wij? Wat is de Nederlandse identiteit?
Het zijn geen Turkse Nederlanders, dat zijn Turken in Nederland.
Na 50 jaar, 60 jaar migratie ga ik niet nog blijven integreren. Wat moet ik nog doen?
Met onze verworvenheden, onze normen en waarden is het alles of niets.
Ze praten integratie, maar ze verwachten assimilatie.
Deze mannen zijn waarschijnlijk Nederlander. Hebben een Nederlands paspoort.
Derde, vierde generatie.
Wat delen wij met hen?
Met deze 20% helemaal niets.
We're asking a minority, prove ourselves worthy of the majority.
If you don't belong anywhere, you belong nowhere. And you definitely don't belong here.
You're stuck in no man's land because you're not really part of this and you're not really part of that.
it's like you're given a toolkit when you start your life. And the toolkit is your nationality, your whatever fancy design that your flag has, the words to your national anthem, the set of mythology things that come with whatever country that you came of, this kind of half made up, half historical patchwork that you are supposedly purely descended from. It's total BS in my opinion. Obviously things are infinitely more complex than that. And we all have to play this game. Such an ingeniously colossal attack on every facet of your being that I wish someone would articulate it.
That it's just safer not to speak. Speaking is just always a tiny bit shameful. That it's just so difficult to make sense of living. I find it quite difficult. And actually, I always found that quite difficult. I see it around me, how it can be different now. How people can simply live. That's what I love so much in Greece. And it did me so much good to see it around me. To feel welcome in a place is in the way that they can do is beautiful, beautiful. I would always feel so happy about it, that this came into my life and that I may experience it and that I can be part of it. But now in a setting like this, just the gap between my normality, my blueprint seems so big.
so big. Can you be sad because you wish something had been different?
Kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh, kind of way, yeah, yeah. Oh,
We're getting at something, and it's something important for me, but I don't know what it is yet. How do I fit into it all? What's the proper way to look at myself? What am I really? Those don't really seem to, they all seem wrong in some way. It has to do with piecing it all together.
Germany first, East Germany first.
And then I get to Berlin, then I get to Greece, then I get to Belgium.
Outside of
I grew
Toronto.
up in Germany.
I guess identity changes in every situation, right?
I was born in capital.
It's just such a complex, complex thing. It's like
in between.
some 3D object with countless sides to it that you're trying to feel around in the dark, trying to get an idea what exactly it is, but it shifts depending on every situation.
From Russia and from Kazakhstan, she moved to Warsaw to be with my dad.
In their own family and moving to another continent. My dad moved to Southern Africa. My mom came to Europe. And then not only you're assembling your spices for your kitchen. I'm taking different things, many different things. So I feel like where I'm from today is all those places that have touched me and influenced me and created something in me, which is now changed, let's say, the constellation of my being. Like, I'm different than I was before I knew these things, or before I felt these things, or before I tasted these things. Then the next thing I remember is my own family and then moving to another continent. This no man's land is a place, and it's a worthy place, and this is my reality.
How wholeheartedly ook say Europe.
Not just because I grew up in America, so-called Western,
Kazakhstan too. Geographically.
Steps.
I mean, most Canadians
to another continent, made the step to go to university and quite big steps. I'm from many places.
feels like I'm standing on the edge to the solution. It's very, very close. It's within reach.
And I just saw like these wings like shot up on my shoulder. It was like a beautiful album cover. I just saw these feathers come out. And the moment that I felt these feathers and like my shoulders getting bigger, I thought, don't forget your feet. And then I saw like these roots shoot through my feet.
For me, it was like bringing back what is important to me in my life, and that what's important that I follow in this the limited time that I'm here.
It gives me so much joy that I, and for that matter many people with me, that we're not stuck in one reality.
Standing on a cliff and seeing myself there, so from a side, standing on that cliff, but not being afraid, looking forward to what is going to come.
Constant search of who am I, where do I belong, are you Namibian, are you Dutch, are you Belgian, are you black, are you white, are you this, are you that. It was always this thing that you're not. So you're not this and you're not that. So now I'm in a space where I feel like, yeah, but I'm very rooted. Like I'm rooted in myself. That's where I feel empowered and in freedom.
Still connected.
Very connected.
In 2016, we're global citizens. We have multiple identities.
Do you feel more British or do you feel more Iranian? And I'm like, I don't care, I'm busy.
No kid should ever have to feel like they have to choose between their family's identity and their Canadian identity.
If you come to this country, you pay this thing like the American dream tax, right? Like, you're gonna endure some racism, and if it doesn't cost you your life, well, hey, you lucked out, pay it. There you go, Uncle Sam. But for me, like a lot of us, I was born here. So I actually have the audacity of equality.
I suspect we'll have a whole bunch of mixed up presents at some point that nobody really knows what to call them.
En soms heb je personen, je moet 7 mensen hebben om 1 persoon te leren kennen.
Experiences are limiting. I want to know how other people experience their reality.
Ik ben Belgian. I won't say I'm not Belgian, of course, but I cannot speak in place of anybody. I'm me.
And I think the melting pot, the idea of people moving around, learning different languages, saying hi, how are you, working in different countries, that's the thing that's going to save the world.
Ik ben Nederlander, ik ben heel trots op Marokkaans bloed. Ik ben een moslim en ik heb een fucking gouden kalf in mijn hand.
People go, they're not African, they're French. Then I'm like, why can't they be both?
Dat maakt de discussie over die identiteit niet gemakkelijker, maar wel veel interessanter.
Ik ben uiteindelijk na 31 jaar en vrij veel af te zien en een paar psychologen af te gaan en zo, en een paar depressies en wel antidepressiva in mijn bek te slaan, ben ik dan uiteindelijk toch op mijn 31ste kunnen aanvaarden dat ik een beetje van alle twee heb, en terwijl dat eigenlijk zo moeilijk niet is.
People do care about these things. They understand that you can be a Muslim and be Western, you can be a Muslim and be British, you can be both.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us this afternoon, for being here, for listening to us. We are gonna play our final song, and after that, please stay a little longer, so we can listen to your stories as well, and we can share some drinks. We all came from many places, but right now, that doesn't matter, because we are here.
It's like you've been searching for a long time and trying and really trying and wanting and hoping to be part of something. And to not have that worry, let's say, to not have this existential question in your mind and in your body is such a relief. It's just like, whew, I can live now. I can just start living. I can just be.